Hey, welcome back. Today I thought it would be fun to do a houseplant tour. I have done these in the past and I thought it would be interesting to see how my plants have grown, different ways I'm styling. I think it's always interesting to see houseplant tours just to get inspired in how to decorate with plants in your own home. So if you're new here, I am primarily a gardening channel and very specifically a flower farming channel as well. I love growing things, and for me that includes houseplants. So while my channel does not always have houseplant material on it, I did want to share with you my love and maybe obsession with houseplants as well. So in the past I have had probably more plants than I have right now. I have probably about 50 right now. That number has gone up and down over the years as I've realized what my efforts or capacity with having houseplants has changed over the years. But I do know one thing for sure, that I need houseplants in every single room that I'm in. They just add such a piece, they just add such joy and life to a room. I really have enjoyed having houseplants in most of my rooms. So today I'm going to take you along and show you some of the rooms I have in my house with the houseplants, how I'm styling them, their light requirements, and maybe some inspiration for you along the way. We are also different in how we decorate, but it's always very interesting to see people's homes and how they decorate with houseplants. So this is our living room. We moved here about 4 years ago, and since we moved in, we had to renovate. I would say our house is modern, rustic, country, whatever you want to call it, that sort of style. So of course I'm going to be styling my plants in that manner. So we added these shelves with the brackets here behind me, and this room gets really nice light. So I would say that the shelves get moderate light because they are getting blocked a little bit by those sheer curtains. And then the fiddle leaf fig behind me gets, I would say, high levels of light in the summer months. So as we go along, I will show you different areas of each room and show you the plants that are in that area. Like I said, this room gets a ton of light, especially in the summer months. We have a 2-story set of windows, so the plants on the upper shelves even get a tremendous amount of light. So starting up top, I've got a marble queen pothos, and to be honest, it's not doing that great. I've sort of struggled with it. I think it was sort of a repotting issue. So now that it's repotted, I think it might thrive, hopefully. We'll see. Okay, what else do I have on this shelf? I have a spider plant, and that's actually from my father-in-law. I got a little cutting from him when his gave off a pup. I'll show you in a minute what that looks like. After he gave me the pup, it probably took 3 years to get to be this size. Really happy with it. I love spider plants, and it's very happy there with sort of moderate light, I would say. And here is that little pup I was talking about. Very proud moment when your plants start propagating. Another plant I have here on this shelf is called a moonshine sansevieria, and it's just that lighter green leaf color. Really makes it more of a standout sansevieria, a little bit more unusual than the others. And then up here I have a button fern. So this is new to me. Ferns are not usually my favorite plant because they don't usually like me. Not that I don't love them, but they don't always love me back, or maybe I haven't quite figured out the care of them. But I have realized that they want more light than you would think indoors. Outside, we know that they are woodland, shade-loving plants, but indoors they can tolerate a little bit more light, but they definitely want more watering than my average plant. And this fiddle leaf fig here I have had for about 3 years. I have cut it a few times in order to get it to branch, and I'm quite happy with how it's growing so far. But I am very impatient to see it kind of tower over this couch. Okay, now we are on the other side of the living room. I have made some changes on this wall here. So previously I had this pothos, jade pothos, just sort of trailing down the wall, and I really loved it, but I wanted to try something different. So I used the little plant clips that you can find on Amazon that sort of adhere to the wall and hold the vine without damaging the vine. And I've sort of started training it along the side, little nook we have here. On the other side here, it'll start going above the window, and then I think it'll be a bit happier. Right now in this corner, I think it's going to suffer a bit, but if I can just get it to manage until it reaches the windows over here, I think it'll get a little bit more light, and I think it'll be beautiful. I was inspired. A friend of mine has pothos running along the walls in her dining room, and I just thought that was so beautiful. So I had enough with it trailing down here, although I did really like it. I'm going to try this and see how it goes. Okay, another little plant I have here is a Hoya carrii, and it is one of those cute little heart-shaped leaves plants that you find typically around Valentine's Day. So it just has the single leaf in the heart shape. And Hoyas are very slow to grow. I've heard that it's actually better to buy a larger one of these if you're sort of impatient to see it vine. But I really find that there's something beautiful in seeing it go from one leaf to a full plant with sort of sprouts and nodes coming out of it. So I'm very, very hopeful to see this one grow. It has grown in size. I would say it's almost doubled in size, the heart shape, but we will see when it starts to sprout its vine. Okay, and now on this side of the living room again, this is a darker sort of nook I have in the corner. You can see we have one lamp here on the wall. So I've got two sansevierias over there in the corner. Sansevierias do very well in lower light conditions, but because I felt a little bit bad, I did add these little lamps and I thought it brightened up this nook as well. So I'm not aware of what type of sansevieria is the back one. It's just like a dark, very thin, tall sansevieria, more of a common one. The one in the front has the yellow edges on the leaf, also a very common one, but very beautiful. I love them. Okay, and then moving over here, we have a Boston fern. And this Boston fern is usually quite happy, but we just got a puppy, and the puppy has just been into everything. So he has been nibbling this fern a little bit. Usually it looks a lot more luscious, a lot more healthy growth on it. So we're gonna have to give this one time to come back. But like I said, ferns are a little bit tricky indoors. They actually want a little bit more sun than you would think compared to outside. Here's one of the puppies. This is the big puppy, the old puppy. But knowing that, now that I give it a little bit more sun, it does seem a little bit happier. And like I said, watering for ferns is definitely more than your average houseplant. Okay, now we are in our dining room. We actually just switched over some rooms. We had a dining room in the other room. It is now an office. This used to be our family room, so it's sort of still in progress. We have some ceiling fans that I'd like to change out for a nice chandelier. But anyway, that's about decorating. We're talking about plants. Anyway, so this is now our dining room. We have a fish tank in here. Yes, there are plants in it, but if I'm being completely honest, the fish tank is for fertilizing. When I do my water changes for my fish tank, I always use the water to water my plants. And there are two sides to that coin. I'm not only watering my plants, but I'm also giving them a very, very gentle and nutritious fertilizer. It has never burnt my plants, and I always see them growing because of this. So if you are crazy about plants and cannot find a good fertilizer, I would definitely encourage you to try a fish tank and use it as a dual purpose enjoyment. So out of my fish tank, I typically grow some cuttings. Not only do the roots help to absorb some of the fish waste, it really, really gives them a good start off. You can see some of the roots in the fish tank, they're just thriving. So I started to train some of the jade pothos out of here and around the mirror here you can see. I just love it. It makes it very natural, very bright and lively. And like I said, just a nice source of life. Okay, and then here on the table, I made this arrangement during the Christmas season. I just wanted a little pop of life. When we switched our rooms, we got a larger dining table, and I wanted a nice big centerpiece for Christmas. So we had this. I had some Christmas ball ornaments in here as well. I took those out when Christmas ended, and now I just have the pine cones. So inside of here, I have a few different plants. I have a Christmas cactus, and the blooms are so pretty. They were like a light, delicate pink, very, very pretty. The theme was sort of pink for this plant centerpiece. And then I have a Dracaena here that has a pink edge to the leaf. Again, just so, so pretty. And then a Tradescantia here, which also has a little bit of a pink hint as well. I really like this. I'm not sure how long it will last in here, but until it's time to switch it up, I will love it, having it here for dinners. Okay, and in this corner, it's a little bit darker against the wall, but in front, it's a little bit brighter. So over here, I have a Scindapsus pictus, one of my favorite plants. It was really hard to get my hands on it a few years ago. I'll show you a cutting I got from someone years ago when I was just desperate to have that plant. And now they're a little bit more common and easier to find locally, I find it at least. So really excited to see this one take off and sort of add that beautiful silvery leaf texture to this room. And then I have a philodendron up here. Philodendrons are very similar to pothos, but they do give that sort of orangey, crispy look on every leaf node. I've had a comment before about it looking a little bit dead or dying or needing some attention, but that is in fact just the way it grows. Really like having this one here, and like I said, that dark leaf is just really nice against this wall, I find. And down here I have a calathea. It needed a little bit of attention, so it's sort of recouping right now. It was a new plant to me a few months ago, so I'm sort of just figuring out what its needs are. But I think it's coming back a little bit strong. And then here I have a cutting of Monstera delicioso. A friend of mine, I have the actual plant, the original plant behind me. The actual plant was looking a little bit leggy. She had it trained up a pole, which was fine, but I wanted more of a bushier style. So that's the beauty of our plants, right? We can sort of prune them and shape them the way we want them to grow. So in order to get it a little bit bushier, I took quite a few cuttings and I'm rooting them in water right now. I'm really encouraged to see some new growth here. So really excited to transplant that into the larger one to have, like I said, a bushier plant. And then behind here, we have a Hoya Hindu rope compacta. Hoya compacta. I really love this plant. It's just such an unusual texture, and that like the name states, compacta, those tight clusters of leaves are just so unique. Okay, now moving on to this side of the dining room, I have another jade pothos that I bought online. I actually fell for one of those giant pothos cuttings. I really wanted one of those large leaves. So I bought this off Etsy. And when in fact I learned that any pothos that is given the chance to grow upwards on a pole, you will get those large leaves. So don't fall for that trick. Yeah, you don't need to do that. You don't need to buy it, you can just train it yourself. But anyway, happy with how this is growing. I'm getting some large leaves. I'm probably not paying enough attention to it. If I was, I could probably get some larger leaves, but I tend to just pull the vines and twist it around the pole, and I don't actually take that much time to train it to adhere to the pole. So it all depends on our effort, right? Okay, and then next to it I have an aloe vera, and you can see it's very lopsided. Aloes want a lot of light, and it's getting a lot of light from this lamp. Unfortunately, I left it for too long and it was growing towards the lamp too much. So now I'm rotating it, and we will hopefully get a little bit more of a full plant back here. Speaking of which, it is probably time to separate this aloe. They do sort of multiply in the pot, and they benefit from sort of getting repotted and pulled apart and divided. And I think that is due for this one. And then here is that original Monstera plant. Like I said, it was growing up this pot, and it was just getting a little bit too leggy. So I'm hopeful that once those cuttings start rooting, I will be able to plant them back into this pot and have a nice, very compact plant. If you're wondering about the sticks and the rocks, that is to keep the cat out of the pot. Okay, another little nook in the dining room. I have this little buffet here, or antique dresser, and this is a new plant to me. This is called a black pagoda lipstick plant. So most of us are familiar with the common lipstick plant. You know, it gives those beautiful lipstick looking clusters of flowers. This is just the same, except that leaf texture is just so beautiful. I couldn't resist not getting it. And actually I found this at a local garden center. It's just an umbrella plant light. Because this is at the far back wall, it doesn't get enough light, so I thought it was kind of a cute way to keep it happy in its home. And here I have another Sansevieria. I'll put the name on the screen for most of these plants. This I love. It just gives such a unique look compared to your typical Sansevieria. The cone-like shape to the leaf structure is just so pretty, and it does fine here with the lower light. Okay, we are in our tiny little main floor bathroom. So you can see here we have a Monstera adansonii, which is the Swiss cheese plant. I usually don't like this plant. I gave up on it. I don't know about you, but we try plants, we give up on them, and then for whatever reason, we have them again. This one I was plant sitting. I'm not sure if someone wants it back, but anyway, I'm taking care of it, and actually it's doing quite well. So I'm changing my mind about the Swiss cheese plant. And I also have my original cutting of the Scindapsus pictus. Love this plant. That leaf texture and the color is just so pretty. Like I said, I wanted to get my hands on this plant specifically, so I put a post on Facebook Marketplace for just our local garden and plant community, and someone offered me a cutting, which was so sweet. So I really enjoyed having this one here. And then here at the back, this doesn't get a tremendous amount of light, but it seems to be happy, and it is called a fishbone cactus, and it is just such an unusual plant. I really like it, and of course it looks like it's her hair, which is just hilarious to me. So I really like having this one here in the back corner. Okay, we are in my little breakfast nook, and here on the table I have a little succulent arrangement that we potted up together. Really like having it. Such a pretty variety of different textures in this. I really enjoy succulents, and they propagate so easily. You can see that just putting the leaf on the soil will just create an entirely new plant, which I love. They typically do better outdoors, so I'm just holding it off until I can put it back outside in the summer months, but it's doing fine here. We get a lot of sun in this breakfast nook, so it's trudging along. And then over here we have a Scindaptus pictus, another one. This one was suffering a bit. I had to repot it, so the leaves are very small and it's a little bit leggy, but I'm hopeful it'll return. I might need to do some pruning, but yeah, it has been repotted. It might do a little bit better now. We'll see. And then just on the edge of these shelves, I have a cutting of a prayer plant. A friend of mine wanted one, so I thought, yes, I'll cut mine back, even though it was getting so big and beautiful and bushy. I decided to cut it for her, and it has rooted. It looks really good. Really happy with how that's going. Beautiful roots on that too. One more little plant I have here in my kitchen is a Kalanchoe, and this is also known as a flaming Katy. Really, really cute plant. They're not super happy with lower lights. So in the winter it has started to suffer a little bit, but I'm hopeful it's going to return as soon as we get that glorious sun coming through this window again. Okay, one more I have is another cutting. So this is just a normal jade pothos. Again, a friend wanted some plants, so I thought this is just one of the easiest plants to propagate. I'll just cut it here and have it here and start rooting again. So this is our office. This used to be our dining room. That's why we have this light. Anyway, it was too small and we switched the rooms. Like I said, this room is sort of in progress. The puppy made us put a kennel in here just to help with some training. But anyway, this isn't normally in here. But behind the kennel, I have a Schefflera here. And again, it's from my father-in-law. My in-laws have lots of plants and they're always happy to share them with me. So this is about 3 years old and it's taking off and almost becoming a mini tree by now. And in the back here, I also have a ponytail palm. And on the other side here, I have a trio star Stromanthe, and it's beautiful. Last year it bloomed for me, which I had never seen before, and it was just so beautiful. And from that bloom, I have this nice spike, and it's making it quite a mature plant. I love it. And the last thing in this room is just a little whale fin Sansevieria. Really, really love this plant. The first time I ever had a whale fin Sansevieria, I thought I would just keep the one original one, but I don't really have the heart to separate them. So right now the two whale fins are spouting together in this one pot. Okay, and in this little area I have tucked in some plants. I have a variegated peace lily here. These are all lower light loving plants. The prayer plant that I already chopped, it was so nice and bushy, but I cut it for my friend. I'm a nice person. And then a Thanksgiving cactus down here. Beautiful magenta pink blooms, really, really nice. And then up here I have another philodendron. This is the Brazil or the split leaf. Really love the texture and the variegation on these leaves. Really, really beautiful plant, and it seems to be happy here in the lower light. And then over here is where my pothos is. It's in this larger pot elevated on that plant stand, and it's sort of trailing down. The roots, you can see, don't have a tremendous amount of light, but they seem to be fine because they are sort of climbing towards the light there. Okay, now we are in the master bedroom. So we get a ton of light here in the summer months. In the winter, like everything, there's a little bit less light. But these plants are doing quite well. So this is an Aglaomia. I forget the type it is, but it has that silver leaf. Really, really beautiful. Love this one. It was one of my sort of dream plants, and once I had it, I was just so happy. As you can see, there's a bit of a theme. That gray leaf texture is just one of my favorites. And then here we have a Hoya carnosa. And this is another plant I am house sitting for a friend, or plant sitting for a friend. It seems to be quite happy. They had put it in a grow bag, and I'm getting a bit of a fungus growing on the outside of that grow bag because of the humidity. I might want to switch that up, but I'm also afraid because they said it's quite old, so I'm sort of just wanting to keep it alive. And it is. It bloomed for me last year. It's quite happy with the amount of light it gets in here. And then behind me, I have a peperomia. Again, it's very happy. I would say it's about 5 or 6 years old. It's quite large. And also coming out of it is a Hoya carnosa. So some of them have this beautiful pink variegation to the leaves, and other ones are a little bit more like the original carnosa. So yeah, really, really nice variety of leaf texture in this group. And the last thing I have here is another Scindapsus. I've started to have it train against the wall, but I don't think it's getting enough light. And I think that's one of those toss-ups, right? We want the plant where we want it, and it might have to not suffer, but it might not thrive in that condition. So I think it's doing okay, but it probably would be happier in other areas. But like I said, I'm just happy to have it where I want it. And over here we have a plumeria. It has never bloomed for me. It is dormant right now. In the winter months when it's just cool and a lack of light, they are typically going dormant. It has never bloomed for me. I'm really hoping it blooms this year. The scent of a plumeria is just my favorite. Really enjoy vacationing in Hawaii, and that smell is just one of my favorite things when we get on the island and just take that tropical air in. It's just a beautiful scent. So anyway, I wanted my own little piece of paradise, but it has yet to bloom, so we will see. I did cut it, and the cutting did take root, so it's kind of like a backup insurance plant for me, because this is one of my favorite plants. It looks a little bit ugly right now, but we will hold on and hope that it blooms. And then back here I have a tall Sansevieria. It is just such a beautiful architectural plant for me. I just love just the structure of it. So pretty. And then on my nightstand there, I have a blue star fern. All right, we are in my bathroom just off of our master bedroom, and I tucked in a couple plants here. I have a Hedera Felix ivy, the larger leafed ivy right here. You can see sort of training it to grow up and around here towards the light, and it seems to be happy doing that. And then a neon pothos, which again, it's sort of starting to climb up the wall, reach the light, and they seem to be happy here with just that little extra humidity they get from the shower. All right, the last room I have to share with you, this is familiar for you if you have seen my channel before. This is my grow room. So I've got lots of shelves here with grow lights with all of my seedlings getting ready for the coming spring and growing months. But I also tucked in some plants here as well. So in the windowsill here, I have another jade pothos. They're just one of my favorites, right? Everyone loves a climbing plant, and they are just such an easy, happy grower. And then back here, I have a Ming Thing cactus, really unusual, clumpy growth on it. Really like that one, very interesting. And then I have a beaver tail cactus, and then I'm not sure what the other one is, but they're both beautiful. And then lower here, I've got a Hoya. I forget the name of this one as well. I'll put it on the screen. I just like the unusual growth on that, right? Like it's just very different, very unique, makes you sort of pause and kind of take it all in as you're looking at it. And another philodendron, another Brazil split leaf. This one's getting maybe a bit too much light. The yellow leaves tell me that. But again, this orange crispiness is very normal. Every leaf node gets them, and it's very normal for the plant. And then down here, I have a anthurium. It gives me usually a purple spat. It usually gives me a purple, not flower, I forget what it's called, but when it looks like a flower, it's a beautiful purple pink one. This one probably could be repotted. It's getting to be quite overgrown in its little container. And then I have another snake plant down here. This one also has an unusual look, more of a thinner, smaller leaf texture to this one. Here I have a succulent arrangement I made probably 4 or 5 years ago, many years ago. It could probably do with some repotting, but I do love the abundant look that it's giving. Just sort of spilling out over its container. Really like that too. And then again, another pothos. They're just probably one of my favorites. Well, that is all to share with you today. Thank you for joining me. Like I said, I love gardening, love flower farming. Houseplants are also something that sort of just gets me by in the winter months. Anyway, I hope you were inspired to maybe try a different plant or arrange it or decorate your home in a different way. Let me know what your favorite houseplant is in the comments. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. Bye.